Hi everyone, Professor Lady here. That's what I'm calling my channel. But my name is Stephanie Bosco-Ruggiero. I have a PhD from Fordham in social work and a master's from University of Delaware, public policy, and a political science degree from Vassar College. With that said, yeah, pretty well educated. But that doesn't make my views, my sightings of a UAP any more important or um, creditworthy than other people's. Okay. Yes, I've seen one of these drones in our neighborhood, and I'm going to show you a map in a bit about that shows all the sightings in my particular neighborhood, my particular area. But I bring this up. My my degrees, my education, I guess, to get into something else. So I belong to that Facebook group that has now, I think, close to, what was it? 70, what is it now? 70,000. I'll check when I share the Facebook group. 70,000 followers, something it's growing like 5,000, 10,000 every day. And something that's so fascinating in that group, people report their sightings, right? A lot from New Jersey. It's a New Jersey-based group, but from elsewhere. And there's these group of people who, no matter what someone is showing, no matter how strange it is, literally seeing something flying maybe 100, 200 feet above their roofs in a neighborhood, things that clearly don't look like airplanes, strange, like orb-like objects. Anything they describe, they just say it's planes and they school everyone and say, I have been looking at those things in the sky my whole life. They're planes. They take people to airports to unload the people. Very condescending, very nasty, and they'll even like automatically just laughing emoji at everything everyone posts. Now, there is mistaken identity, mistaken identification of objects. We're certain, of course, people are going to misidentify some things. And that's why, in part, the group is there to share your videos and get feedback on what something is. With that said, other than the videos in that group, the collective situation that is occurring is a mystery. The group is called Mystery Drones Over New Jersey. Let's solve it. That implies and accepts that there is a mystery, and I accept that 100%. All of my degrees, not okay, my understanding of science, the scientific method, process, logic, process of analysis, how we look at things in science and hypothesize and test variables, and in social sciences and all the sciences, right? But that doesn't obviously mean that I have any special qualifications for judging lights in the sky. But why would I post something that I saw over my neighbor's house if it didn't catch my attention? Yes, I've been seeing planes my whole life too. The point is, these things are unusual, and all kinds of people are posting them, and they should be given the benefit of the doubt. Yes, look at the videos and let's analyze if they've made a mistake, if it is in fact a plane. Not every single one is a plane, and the big mystery encompasses confirmed, I hate that, confirmed and corroborated by the government, right? And I'll tell you why in a second, but confirmed sightings over military bases in New Jersey, right? Paterson, Ohio, um, now Texas, military bases in Texas, and the Langley drone incursion that lasted 17 days that hasn't been drone, okay, that hasn't been explained yet. These are over military bases. The people running the military bases don't understand what a plane is. They're just seeing planes. Um, no, I don't think so. But then when we get to the everyday people, just our everyday citizens seeing things, most people understand that something that hovers for an hour over a building and is lower than a typical plane and that is 6 feet in length is not a plane, a commercial plane or a helicopter. Helicopters are very noisy. A lot of these objects are quiet, but some do make a buzzing noise. Is it, are the drones owned by the same entity, organization, level of drone flying, meaning commercial, hobbyist, military? Now these things are being seen in multiple states across the country. Um, if you want to call them commercial, so some commercial entity is now flying drones in like 20 states over people's roofs, over buildings, over reservoirs and critical infrastructure. For what purpose? And it's just one entity. Are we seeing multiple things? Is some of it military? Is some of it, I mean, they're confused about what's flying over military bases, the military themselves, and the military controls it. Is that what we're being told? The military controls the drones, but they're also flying over military bases, and the military itself is confused. None of this makes sense. It doesn't make sense. All right. Um, you do have to start, as a scientist, you have to start um, crossing things off of the list. The government is saying it's not, the government is saying it's not theirs. Military is saying it's not theirs. No big commercial flyer saying it's theirs. These are not hobbyist drones, we know that. And the government's confirming it's not a foreign actor, terrorist, country, whatever. So then you have to take at face value their statement that people are just seeing planes, planets, and law enforcement drones, and that most of them can be explained. Now, this is where we get to what I'm interested in and why I'm doing this podcast. So I'm very, very well read on UAP history. It used to be called UFO, right? And that involves many, many instances of incursions over military bases and nuclear weapons facilities throughout history, 50s, 60s, beyond. There are experts in all these areas, and I'm going to recommend some resources later. So I have all this knowledge about the field, and it's hard to like break it down because there's so many pieces to the puzzle, but I will just tell you this. If you're not familiar with it, UAPs, objects that are unknown, have been flying over military facilities for quite some time. And there are instances of them turning off nuclear weapons, the power to the nuclear weapons, or turning them on. Um, Disabling them or actually activating them. Very scary stuff and very well documented. There's a history of this. The military flyover stuff, okay? So UAPs today, this drone thing, and we don't know if it's man-made drones, um, non-human intelligence. We don't have any answers from the government at least. But as scientists, we have to keep investigating this and keep all possibilities open. Um, So we do have to start crossing some possibilities off of the list. I really think we do. Do I think our government would allow a foreign country to send objects like this en masse over our country and not do anything about it? No, I do not. Say anything you want about Trump, Biden, whoever it is. No, I don't think they're going to allow us to be sitting ducks while there's an invasion from an Iranian mothership or what have you, China, multiple states, multiple countries, by the way, now too. Um, so I want to see more science around this. I'm not sure we can just let the government solve this or trust that the government's going to give us some kind of finality on this and tell us exactly what it is. So the science I want to see is the kind of stuff that Tedesco Brothers is doing at Enigma Labs, which is looking at the properties of orbs and various objects in the sky and actually analyzing their properties. They're engineers. They're amazing. I'm going to show you their website in a second. They're out of Long Island, and the drone the drone sightings are increasing over Long Island too. So they'll have a lot to work with. Um, I want to see the social science approach to it, which is where someone like me comes in, which is looking at how people are responding to a situation like this. And we'll just say it's unknown UAPs at this point. I'm not going to say how people are responding to a drone incursion because I'm not sure we can definitively say they're drones. None of them have been identified as having the frequency of drones. Nothing has been captured. Um, there's actually no evidence they're drones at this point. All right. So, UAPs, as I've mentioned in other videos, Hudson Valley, where I am, we have a long, fascinating history of UFO sightings. We are a hotspot of hotspots in the world. Again, I'll be talking about this more in the future, but 5, 10,000, whatever, more. It's a very populated area. Sightings in the Hudson Valley, Connecticut region in the 1980s of something that was described as a football field in size to 3 football fields in size, boomerang shaped, hovering over or traversing slowly, um, more often over Interstate 84. And it would appear a similar day. It became like a certain day of the week that it would come. This was a flap that lasted years. It was over IBM, it was over Indian Point. I'm going to give you resources to read about it because, like I said, there's so much research out there and there's so much going on. But being a hotspot, what I wanted to do was, in the interest of science, was start to do a small project. And that is actually start to map where these sightings are in my particular neighborhood. All right, so using Nextdoor app and Facebook, I've been collecting reports of drones. Now, you would say, a lot of people would say, but we don't have confirmation that they're drones. I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt that they're not babies who don't understand the difference between a plane and a drone or object. I have to do that. I'm sorry. I have to do that because there's so many reports now across the country. Were some of these folks mistaken? Maybe, maybe. But what we see that's interesting is that there's multiple reports in certain areas. I started to try to put the dates. So the different colors represent a common date. Like this is my own sighting. Okay, December 5th. That's the only one I've collected on December 5th. Um, So I have to fill in the dates for a lot of these. Some I just didn't get to, but for example, this was the same date in this area. Um, there was another one that was the same date. Oh, let's see. Poughkeepsie, December 13th, and then down here, December 13th. Um, what else do we have that's a common date here? Well, I have to do better with the dates, but the orange is the ones that I didn't fill in the date or I didn't know the date exactly. Um, but something like this, okay, this is a place called Oakway, and we've got multiple sightings. These people don't know each other, but they saw something. I think it was the same day, but I have to go and check that. Um, all of these people do not know each other and they're reporting similar things. One of the most interesting, what they're calling drones, what they're calling unusual UAP. This is the site of the incident that closed down Stewart Airport. There were several drones on a runway and they had to close down the airport in our area for a little while. This is military and public commercial travel airport. So that's the one that was closed down for a bit. Um, oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, this is December 12th. There was a couple of sightings along the Hudson River, West Point, and Poughkeepsie. So you could say, what I would be interested in is, am I going to find other people December 12th? Maybe if I found some people who saw things along the Hudson River here in between these 2 points, is it is this UAP traveling up the river, right? So that's the kind of thing we want to look at. Um, Lake Carmel, very interesting report of 10 orbs over the Lake Carmel, but also sighting right by the Interstate 84. Um, and another interesting one is a place called Maloney Road. I think Maloney Road in Wappingers Falls. And what makes this interesting is it's restricted airspace and there's power lines. And someone saw two drones slowly traversing the power lines. This is not an area where you should see planes or especially low flying planes. This part of maybe not all of Maloney Road is air restricted, but they were looking at the power lines. I don't know. That was the report. And then just a few blocks from me, 2 minutes from me, I could drive there 3 minutes by car. A woman saw 10 circling for hours. What jet? Commercial airline or a helicopter? Not making a sound. Circles and multiple ones. Circles for hours over your house, over your neighborhood. Very compelling sighting right near me. So I saw something. I have the video on the site, and then someone else also reported. They named my street. They said they saw it over my street. I don't think it was the same day, but again, it's like you have to look at people are reporting these UAP independent of each other in the same neighborhoods. They're all seeing planes coming in for a landing and making videos of them. Can we not treat people that much like babies? Yes, mistakes will be made, but I am accepting that there is a phenomenon. There's something going on and it's worthy of study. And one of the basic things we can do, and you can do this in your neighborhood, is collect the sightings, map them in this way, and see if you can come up with some kind of patterns. Where they're being seen over bodies of water, military installations, infrastructure, power lines, neighborhoods. Why are they over neighborhoods? Residential neighborhoods? I don't. Why would military craft be interested in neighborhoods and reservoirs? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so this is something you can do. The other thing is, like I mentioned, I'm going to be working on the study where we're going to collect people's changes in their attitudes, changes in their consciousness, if there are any changes, um, after they saw these huge boomerang objects, mostly boomerang, in the 80s. But it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be just the 80s. We'll look at the Hudson Valley sightings of orbs and other things more recently too. But there can be interesting changes in people, and that's worthy of study. That brings me to something I asked in oh, I have it here. Community. So I did a quick poll of that New Jersey mystery group, and I'm sure there's like 300 responses now. But the major emotion is curiosity. I've seen in the press and even the government using words like hysteria. I'm not seeing hysteria over these objects. People are just freaking curious because there's something circling over their roofs. I have a friend in New Jersey. She's not interested in UAPs, never has shown a history of that. She's got something buzzing around over her house, over her neighborhood. They're all over South Jersey. She told me, what is it? Just like everyone else, they just want to know what it is. Is she like hiding under her bed and not going to work? No. Are people rushing out for reams of toilet paper because something's about to happen? No, I don't see that. Most people have a natural curiosity, and yeah, there can be some fear and anxiety. But what's interesting about the folks who took the poll, the majority emotion was curiosity rather than the fear or the anxiety. Um, but I'll check that. I'll probably have more responses now and see if anything changed with that, but I don't think it has. Um, okay. So we can all do little pieces of science. We don't have to be scientists. We can simply map in our neighborhoods where the reports are. And please stay tuned for that study. If you've seen something in the Hudson Valley you consider very unusual, a UAP, and I believe you, I trust you. Most people don't have time to make up stories, to take surveys that are a half hour, whatever. Stay tuned for that survey that I'll be putting out. Um, so please keep sending me your you can find me, you can send it to me on YouTube or whatever, wherever. Sightings in Mid Hudson Valley. This happens to be around where I live, but I also have some sightings here in Orange County and Putnam County, Carmel. So, this Mid Hudson Valley, I'll continue to put the markers on the map. Okay, so now I want to recommend some resources about this UAP phenomenon, specifically the drones right now and beyond, and other UAP. All right. So, wait a minute. Before I do that, I wanted to show you this group. I wanted to show you, where's the group? Let's go to the group. Let's go to the group. New Jersey Mystery Drones. 78,000 members. Yeah, approaching 80,000. It's pretty impressive. Some good stuff on here, but lots of people just You could see a 3 foot boomerang or a disc hovering outside your window, and there's people on here who would tell you it's an airplane. It's almost like, to me, those people seem afraid, and it seems like it's the type of people who can't handle any kind of uncertainty or mystery or any abstraction in life. We all know what I'm talking about. Um, they know, they're the experts. They know everything before they've investigated, or maybe some people can tell from a video what something is, but actually the videos don't do justice to what you're seeing in the sky. So that's kind of problematic too. There has to be a case by case investigation. Now, that's where we get to the government. So they say most of the sightings can be explained. Well, first of all, we have a history of the government saying that all UAP are, back in the 50s, 60s, Project Blue Book, right? It was a setup. It was just a front until J. Allen Hynek said, I'm not gaslighting people anymore. I'm actually a scientist. I'm going to really investigate this because not every sighting can be explained. What the government would say is that everything was this thing called swamp gas, swamp gas, planets. They would say anything, cow farts, they didn't say that. I'm just saying government. That's how ridiculous it was. They could have said that. They probably, in some cases, did. But it was just like complete railroading. So scientists, real scientists, have gotten involved in this field called, they call it ufology, whatever. And there's so much great research, and there's a lot of former government people who were like, no, enough of this railroading. I'm gonna become an independent researcher and actually figure it out. And I think that disclosure will come from science. It's not going to officially come from the government because they have certain interests, and you can't blame the government. If they assess that there's going to be hysteria in their opinion, they're not going to say anything. But then we come to these UAP hearings, okay, in Congress. That's a whole other piece of this field that you have to read up on. Maybe I'll try to do like videos on each piece of it. But Congresswoman Nancy Mace, I believe, is the chair of the UAP investigations committee. And they've had some fascinating hearings. If you guys have not seen them, take a look at some clips. Louis Elizondo was there, and some other whistleblowers and people from the government who are talking about this thing called Arrow, which is supposed to be investigating UAP. The official government UAP investigation arm. Makes me think of Project Blue Book, right? Because they basically came out and said there's not much to anything. It's the same kind of thing, right? But Congresswoman Mace, not a fan, because I don't understand if she seems a little excited about the fact that there could be non-human intelligence. That's the purpose of her committee, to get to the bottom of this. And I think she's doing a good job chairing that committee. If someone is afraid of who's in their bathroom, I don't understand how they're going to handle aliens from outer space, non-human intelligence. Doesn't add up. This woman's, obsessed with bathrooms, but yet at the same time, she's interested in non-human intelligence. With that said, I think she's doing a decent job with the committee. But she says that this Arrow program is going to come out and say that there are some drone-like objects that are a certain shape that don't fit the drone profile, and that they're going to officially say that they're UAP. And that's what they say, this group, Arrow. They'll say it's UAP. They won't come out and say it's non-human intelligence, but they'll say it's an unknown. which to date, the federal government is saying that pretty much everything's known, and if it's not known, it's not a threat. They're flying over military installations, but it's not a threat. They're flying over neighborhoods, but it's not a threat. It's not nefarious, they say. Um, but yet it's there. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, she's saying that this Arrow blue book type group is going to classify some of them as UAP. I think it's interesting. I know Seth Meyers was making fun of her, and there's some things to make fun of for sure, but I think this is interesting. And I do appreciate the Congress people on both sides of the aisle who are being like, people, there's like things flying over my constituents' neighborhoods, buzzing their roofs, like literally like 10 of them at a time, including the former governor Chris Christie. Can we like actually get real responses and answers to this? I I give them credit because some of them are just parroting what they're being told in the briefings, which is that it's not nefarious, but they don't know what every single one is, but also most of them are known. It's just like these circles, talking in circles. Boop, 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 boop. All right. So I'll conclude by sharing some resources with you. Individuals who are YouTubers, who are authors, researchers that I think are worth checking out for sure. Um, One is Christina Gomez, is a UFO journalist, and she had a great interview on Hannibal TV. It's called Hannibal TV. This guy's from Canada. I don't know. He seems great. I think previously he might have covered um wrestling or I don't know. His other videos are not of interest to me for sure, but he's for some reason getting into UAP research and he's on it. He reviews all of the information coming out and he's like quick. He's like every day. He's reviewing everything that's being said. He's great. So Hannibal TV, Christina Gomez, who has her own show, check her out. Amazing. And I noticed that there's so many more men talking about UAP, male researchers, and not many women. I mean, I know some women researchers. I'm in touch with them and they're amazing, but it's like maybe because YouTube is more male dominated and there's more shows, prominent shows, YouTubers who are men, and now they've started to talk about UAP, but they already had a following. I don't know, but she's a young woman who is smart, informed, excellent. Um, I would recommend also um, Richard Dolan, Professor Richard Dolan, who's a history professor. He knows everything about um, he knows everything about the history of these military incursions. He's written many books, and he's written a book called AD, After Disclosure. What will be the societal reactions and implications of disclosure? I have to read it. I haven't read it yet, but he is really smart and he's an academic. It's important to have academics involved in this, and they are. But he's got the historical stuff down. Whatever you want to know about history and military sightings and all that. Then there is Enigma Labs. Well, before I get to Enigma, I want to mention Linda Zimmerman, who writes about Hudson Valley, UAPs. Um, she's written 30 books, and like 10 of them are about Hudson Valley boomerangs, the flap of the 80s, animal sightings, UAP in Connecticut, New Jersey, the whole history. It's great. Okay, and then the last one is Enigma Labs. Tedesco Brothers. They are out of Long Island. Like I said, they are taking reports They are engineers, they are scientifically minded. They are one of the few people out there on YouTube who are actually analyzing the physical properties of orbs, of drone sightings, of UFOs, UAP, whatever. They are so credible. They are so down to earth. They're cool. They're really cool. Um, and they're out of Long Island. And I encourage you to send them reports and watch their interviews again on Hannibal TV. He had a great interview with the Tedesco brothers, but they're out there on different channels. Just search it up. Enigma Labs or Tedesco. Um, see their blog. They are receiving a flood of witnesses. A flood. These are engineers. They're not like people. These are planes. Every single thing you're sending me is a plane. They're engineers. They get it. They know something unusual is happening. And most military trained people also that I've seen online, like no. Well, at the military installation in Texas, the sheriff, local police, whatever, was like, we've had drones wander into our airspace. This is not, this is not what we've ever seen. This is not the same as people's drones, hobby drones, drifting into our airspace. So these are trained professionals that understand what is in the sky. And these guys are amazing. So send your reporting, your reports. Let's see, where have they been? Um, oh my goodness, they've been on all of these shows and sites. I didn't know that they were this widespread in terms of the scope of their work and their how much they're out there talking about this. Why don't they have pictures of themselves on their site? It's two brothers, they're retired. What is the address? Coming soon. Explore sightings. Okay. What else can you do here? No labs. Hold on, hold on. I am making sure that Enigma Labs is the Tedesco brothers. Now I'm getting a little confused because why are they not mentioning them in these articles? Mhm. Am I confusing the Tedesco brothers with Enigma Labs? Hold on, let me see. Okay. Another interesting headline, FAA closing New Jersey airspace to drones because they're going to shoot them down or something. Tedesco brothers. I'm wondering if they're called something else. Tedesco Brothers, Gary and John Tedesco. Nightcrawler research? Um, I'm getting confused. Enigma Lab, is that run by the Harvard researcher in Israel, from Israel? Which have the same active ingredient as Ozempic and weight. And the Tedesco brothers is called Nightcrawlers. I will find out because they're just excellent. Just search Tedesco brothers and you will there they are.
This guy had come into the house and he was
They had a weird incident at Robert Moses Park where they were investigating an orb, and with their equipment they were seeing it not with the naked eye, with their equipment, and every time they flashed the equipment that would show it, it would get closer and closer to them. And at some point they lost feeling in their legs for 45 seconds and fell to the ground. So weird. So weird, but they're so genuine, and they're not like looking for some kind of weird, they're you gotta look for the people who are just they're scientists, they're engineers, there are people out there who, forgive me, they're very out there. Out there. They're strange. They're saying they're channeling things, and I just you got to be open-minded, and I am, but I want to look for scientists. I want to see what they're saying. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful new year, and maybe we will figure this out in 2025. Until then, let's keep studying it. Let's keep the reports. Let's ignore the people who say everything um, from a 3 foot, 3 mile wide boomerang to a flying saucer to you know, a city-sized floating object is a plane. Let's just put those aside and keep doing what we're doing. And um, by the way, I am talking about this and doing research about this for the first time. I've always been interested, but my day job typically has been more social, well, it has been social science research, and I have knowledge in the areas of child welfare, adoption, mental health, social policy, some politics, that kind of stuff, that kind of more down to earth stuff, which I do have a podcast series I'm developing um, about older child adoption. So this is really different from UAPs, but down to earth and actually taking care of earthlings, right? Who are on this earth, who need parents and who need families and who need stability. I don't know if you can see that, but of course it's reverse. I wrote this book 10 years ago with my dear friend Gloria Rousseau Lasselle, and it's about the importance of older child adoption. I'm going to do a podcast about that, about or video about older child adoption, but I'm also going to add a podcast that I did for an organization called Creating a Family. They're going to post the interview with me that they did with me in February. So I'll share that too, but I'm going to do my own little podcast about adopting older children. We always see the NBC or ABC special about adopting older children around this time of the year. During the holidays, we see that because holidays is family time, and they interview families, they show families and kids and what a difference being adopted makes in their lives. And there's a lot of stigma misinformation, confusion about older children who are waiting to be adopted in the American foster care system. There's some misinformation and assumptions that they're bad kids or they're juvenile delinquents or that every kid is going to be like the nightmare scenario or whatever. That's not the case. Most of them will thrive in a family. So that's why I have a passion for that, getting information about that. Because once they're past 5 years old, they have a much lower chance of being adopted. Um, and that's really a shame. Let's open our hearts more to these older children who are here on Earth, who need families. Yes, many people prefer infants to adopt, but that's not always feasible either. And we all need each other. So they need families. Parents want families. It's really a beautiful thing. So have a great New Year and holiday season, and we will see what is going on with the mysterious drones in 2025. Until then, see ya. Or maybe a little bit before then if something big happens. Bye bye.